In last class, we studied about a common salt which is known as sodium chloride, and this is sodium chloride. And we also studied that how we can obtain this sodium chloride. We obtain this from seawater, and it is also known as rock salt because it can be obtained from rocks, and in seawater we need to evaporate the water and thus we get NaCl. And in rock salt we have to do mining, just like mining or scraping, and we obtain this salt NaCl. And both of these cases we obtain this NaCl or sodium chloride or table salt or common salt in impure form. We studied this because it is also present with some other salts like magnesium chloride and calcium chloride. Okay, CaCO3. So many other salts are also present in nature, and we whatever salt we obtain from nature we obtain in its impure form. So NaCl never comes in its original form. It is like this is the real of sodium chloride. All of us are very aware of this, and all of us we know that what is sodium chloride. So this is a pure sodium chloride, but this pure sodium chloride needs to be purified before this form. If you are getting this form, you need to purify this sodium chloride which is not only sodium chloride. It is a mixture of sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, okay, calcium carbonate and other many salts. That's why the whole group of salts you obtain either from seawater, just you have to evaporate seawater and you will get this sodium chloride, or you can get rock salt. You just, if you want to find NaCl, you just have to mine some mountains and you have to scrap these mountains, and after that you can get impure form of NaCl, or we can say a mixture of salts, a mixture of salts. And this impure form is known as halite. Okay, this is halite because this is impure form. In impure form you have to purify this halite to obtain this NaCl, and the color of halite is brownish, or it is brown in nature. And after that we have to purify this NaCl from this mixture of salts. Okay, there are so many salts, but our target is NaCl. So we have to purify this from among other salts, and for this we have to go with so many processes. There are so many processes we have to follow, like filtration, evaporation, etc. But it is not of it is not so much important for class 10th, that how we obtain NaCl from other salts or from the group of other salts. So just we need to follow process in which we separate NaCl from other salts. Okay, or we can say halides. Okay, what are halides? This bunch of salts which we obtain from seawater or rock salt. If someone asks you that can we direct obtain NaCl from seawater, or we can direct obtain NaCl from rock salt? No, we cannot obtain NaCl directly. Just we evaporate water and we can get NaCl. No, or we just mine something, or we scrap something from mountain. This is mountain. We have to just scrap something and we can get pure NaCl. No, it is not possible. We get something, but it is mixture of salts, and definitely NaCl is present in that mixture. And after that, this is also known as halite. It is brownish in color, and after that we have to purify because our target is NaCl, sodium chloride, and we have to separate this NaCl from this mixture of salt, from these halides. And for this we have to follow so many processes which is not much of importance right now. In further classes, in higher classes, you will learn about these processes. So separation of NaCl from other salt, and we will get our original salt, which is known as, now it is known as common salt. after separation or after purification from other salt. Okay, now it is known as common salt, or it is known as table salt. Okay, so the question, what is the question? What I'm trying to make you understand, that you cannot get the common salt, you cannot go get common salt or table salt directly from seawater or directly from rock salt. No, it is not possible to get our common salt, table salt, or NaCl directly from seawater, rock salt. What we have to do, we have to do just it is present in halite from period. It is not only NaCl, that is mixture of salts, and after that we have to purify it. We have to go through so many processes, and after that finally we can get our common salt or table salt, which is also known as our NaCl, sodium chloride, which is white in color, and we are very aware of this. Okay, food doesn't make any sense without NaCl. So this is how we can get NaCl. Now this NaCl, by this NaCl, okay, suppose we obtained our NaCl by so many processes, and now we are having NaCl. By this NaCl, without this NaCl, okay, why NaCl or sodium chloride is not only important for our food, but it is also important for chemistry, or chemical processes, or we can say chemical industry. It is most important thing for chemical industries, because without NaCl, we generally, we do not separate NaCl just by this process. We don't separate this NaCl from these other salt just for our making our food tasty. Okay, there are so many other uses of this NaCl, and without NaCl it is not possible to run a chemical industry, because all of the chemical industries are most probably dependent on NaCl. By NaCl, we are going to produce so many other substances. We are going to produce one base from this NaCl, and we are going to produce 4 salts. Okay, we can produce so many other bases and salts, but in our syllabus, we have to learn about one base and 4 salts. So by sodium chloride, we can get, or we can produce sodium hydroxide, bleaching powder, baking soda, washing soda, and plaster of Paris. So one by one, we will study about how we can produce or how we can get all these substances for sodium chloride. So our first target is sodium hydroxide. Okay, this is base. This is a strong base, we know. Sodium hydroxide. This is the chemical formula, sodium hydroxide. Okay, this is the real formula, but generally we don't put valencies. So this is our sodium hydroxide. Now the question is how we can obtain sodium chloride, sodium hydroxide. Okay, we are going to prepare sodium hydroxide by sodium chloride. Okay, by sodium chloride or NaCl. So how NaCl will produce NaOH. Okay, now we are going to do an experiment. It is very important experiment. This is provided you our NCERT book. So first of all, I'm taking a tub. Okay, now I'm not taking any test tube, because it is a, this activity needs a tub. Okay, okay, you can take any type of tub, glass tub, or any type of tub. It should be insulator. Okay, now this is a tub, and I'm using 2 electrodes. Okay, I'm using 2 electrodes here. These are 2 electrodes. Now what are electrodes? You have heard so many times that electrode, electrode, electrode. So now what are electrodes? Let me introduce you what are electrodes. Electrodes are something that conduct electricity. Electrodes, we have done so many activities by using electrodes, from our second, third class to 10th class. Okay, we have heard so many times that what are electrodes. Electrodes, now I'm giving you an idea. Electrodes are conductors. Okay, they are conductors which conduct, they conduct electricity they conduct okay, and they are conductors, but they are non-metallic conductors. Remember this. Electrodes are non-metallic conductors. They are non-metallic conductors. Definitely you have heard that electrodes are made up of graphite. Most of the time you have heard that they are made up of graphite. So electrodes are non-metallic conductors. That means they are made up of some non-metal. So they are non-metallic conductors, okay, which conduct electricity, in non-metallic environment. In non-metallic environment. Okay, it means that I'm going to fill this tub with water. Definitely I'm going to fill this tub with water. Okay, so these electrodes are made up of graphite, which are non-metallic thing, and same time the water which is filled is also a non-metal. Okay, so I'm passing the electricity. I have connected this to this thing. This is a battery. Okay, and we know that this is positive terminal and this is negative terminal. This positive terminal is known as anode and this negative terminal is known as cathode. We know about this. Okay, now these electrodes, okay, these electrodes are definitely, they are made up of graphite. So these electrodes are non-metallic because graphite is non-metal. Okay, and also it will run electricity in water, which is also non-metallic part, because water is non-metal. Okay, there is nothing like metal in water. H2O, neither H is metallic, neither O is metallic. So this is how we can explain electrodes. They are non-metallic conductors which conduct electricity in non-metallic environment. Okay, now what I'm doing, I am adding NaCl to this water. I'm adding NaCl to this water. So now this is a mixture of NaCl and water, and this mixture which is containing NaCl and water, there is NaCl. Okay, I'm denoting NaCl like this. It is having both NaCl and water, and now this mixture is known as brine. This mixture is known as brine. What is brine? The mixture of simple salt and water is known as brine. So don't forget about brine. Okay, now I conduct electricity and electricity will pass like this. Okay, electricity will pass like this. So again there is electrolysis. There is electrolysis. What is electrolysis? Electro means electricity, lysis means to break down. So here we are breaking down something in presence of electricity. Definitely we are using a cell, and that's why we are conducting electricity, and same time we are breaking something. And what is our process? What we are doing? We want to obtain NaOH. This was our target. Our target was to obtain sodium hydroxide, NaOH, from this NaCl. So we use NaCl and H2, and this is a mixture of NaCl, H2, and now this is known as brine. Okay, now what would happen, that if I add this NaCl to water, okay, we know that, did you remember dissociation? Okay, some of you asked me what is dissociation. So it is disassociation. So it will get dissociate. So it will get dissociate in Na plus Cl minus. This is how NaCl breaks down. And in second time, this H2O will also break down in H plus and OH minus. Okay, this is how the breaking occurs, or this is how the breakdown will takes place. Okay, so these two molecules will get breakdown separately. Now again we are going to our charges. That sodium is of first we are taking chlorine and H. Okay, so here we are, I'm using 2. Okay, 2, so it will form 2H2 and it will form 2OH. Okay, so what I'm doing, consider that Cl2 and H2. So this just balanced equation. Okay, I just increased number of molecules and I did nothing to it. So this chlorine is negative in charge, so it will get attracted to this pole. Because chlorine is negative charge, so it will get attracted to positive charge. Definitely it is anion. And this H2, definitely hydrogen has positive charge, so hydrogen will get attracted to here, because hydrogen is cation because it is positive in nature. Okay, now these two things, this Cl and this H, okay, so this will release as gas. So I told you in previous classes that if you want to indicate something as gas, you have to write down 2 after this. Okay, whatever gas you are using, oxygen, nitrogen, whatever, just put 2 behind to its symbol. So these are gases, and these gases are get collected in this test tube. So we put test tubes and these gases will get collect in this. Okay, so here we can obtain chlorine gas and here we can obtain hydrogen gas. Okay, so two gases are obtained from electrolysis of NaCl with water, and this solution is known as brine. Okay, now what about this Na and OH? Now this Na is positive in nature, so definitely it will move towards this negatively charged part which is cathode. So sodium is, or Na or sodium is cation, so that's why it will get attracted to this. And this OH supposed to go to here. Okay, this OH supposing to go to this negative positive side towards anode, because it is having negative charge, and negative charge moves or get attracted towards positive charge. But this OH will not get attracted to this anode and it will attract to this Na because it is positive. So despite of going to this positive terminal, it finds that Na is more appealing, or Na is attracting it more, or it finds Na more attractive because of its charges, so it will move towards this Na rather than going to this, because Na is also having positive charge and this terminal is also having positive charge, but it find Na is more powerful, so it will go here. And both Na and OH will communicate with each other and they will form Na plus OH minus. Okay, and we can write this NaOH. And this is how what we started, or what we were going to learn. We were going to learn about that how NaCl produces NaOH. This is our base, or sodium hydroxide, because we will study about every type of this substance which is produced by NaCl definitely. Okay, so this is sodium hydroxide is obtained, and in this tub we can find that there are three things are formed. First thing, that here we collected chlorine gas, here we collected H2 gas, here chlorine gas is collected. Okay, here H2 gas is collected by this process, and in this solution NaOH is collected. So I'm writing the full equation. This is I told you how they will move towards their charges, and this is the process of electrolysis. Now I'm writing another equation which is provided in our book. So I used NaCl. Okay, aqueous. What is the meaning of aqueous? I'm just adding this into water. Okay, now this is known as brine. Okay, when you want to make a salty lemonade and when you add salt to water, okay, this salt to water, then definitely you are making a brine. Okay, now it will form NaOH. Definitely it is aqueous, plus Cl2 gas plus hydrogen gas, Cl2 gas, or you can say chlorine gas. Okay, so this is how Na, this is how this Na will go to this OH. Okay, so this is, we can get chlorine gas, hydrogen gas, and NaOH. This is sodium hydroxide. Now one point you have to remember, that we will collect this sodium hydroxide near cathode. Okay, not exactly on cathode, but just near cathode. It is because Na will move here and OH finds it Na more attractive than this anode pole, because both of them are positive in nature. Na is positive and anode is positive, so OH will move here, that I will go towards Na because I think it is more attractive or more powerful positive ion rather than this positive graphite rod, or we can say electrode. Okay, so this is our reaction. Now we got three types of two substances and two gases. One is sodium hydroxide. We know this is very good and very powerful base. This is how sodium hydroxide is produced. Okay, again chlorine gas. Okay, you could be asked in your exam that how we can produce chlorine gas, or write down a method to find a chlorine gas. Okay, and this is our hydrogen gas. Okay, so three things we obtain from this process. And this process, okay, this process is known as, don't forget this is known as chlor alkali process. Okay, why this is known as chlor alkali process? Because in this process chlorine is forming, definitely chlorine gas is forming, first thing. Alkali, what is alkali? Do you remember that we studied that any base which is water soluble is known as alkali? We studied in this on previous classes, that a base which is water soluble, which is known as alkali. So definitely NaOH is definitely water soluble. It is very good water soluble base and it is known as alkali. So in this activity, by the solution of brine, by the breaking down of this brine, we are getting chlorine, we are getting this alkali, because it is base but this is water soluble, and same time we are getting hydrogen. So this reaction is known as chlor alkali process. Okay, now we are done with our three substances, one substance and two gas. Okay, so this is how our book represents our diagram. Okay, so it will be not difficult for you to understand your diagrams of your book, and this is how our books represent us. And this is the uses of these three sub two gases or one base we obtained. First it is hydrogen. Okay, this is hydrogen gas, and this is chlorine gas, and this is our sodium hydroxide, NaOH. Now remember one thing, that this diagram was present in your NCERT books before last year, but from last year this diagram has been deleted from your NCERT book. So this diagram is from your NCERT book directly, but not for this year. I collect this diagram from your previous books. Okay, so it is good if you draw this. It is okay good if you don't draw this, but you will not find these diagrams in your NCERT book. NCERT book, which is latest published. Okay, now this is H2 plus Cl2. Okay, I'm not joining this, and H2 we are getting Cl2 and we are getting NaOH. Okay, now by their combination, what is the meaning of their combination? Sometimes I will add hydrogen to chlorine, okay, and it will form HCl, and sometime I will join this chlorine to this base and I will form some other substances. So the meaning of this, that we are having these three things, two gases and one base, and we will add them or shuffle them randomly. Sometimes I will do this, I will add H2 plus Cl2. Definitely very important thing which is forming, that is HCl gas. We know H2 plus Cl will form HCl, 2HCl. Sometimes I will join this, and sometimes I will react hydrogen with this NaOH, and by doing the same thing so many times, okay, by adding this to this, by adding chlorine to sodium hydroxide, by adding sodium hydroxide to hydrogen, or by adding sodium hydroxide to chlorine, I will obtain these five. Sodium hydroxide is already obtained. I will obtain these four salts by adding them in random manner or random fashion. Okay, Now this is hydrogen and this is chlorine. So first we have to learn about the properties of hydrogen. It is not so much difficult thing to make you understand. It is very easy and you can understand by your own. Okay, just I'm giving you an idea. Hydrogens are used as fuels. The fuels sometimes for spacecrafts, hydrogen used as a fuel for spacecrafts. Okay, they are used as margarine. What are margarine? Do you remember? Have you eaten mayonnaise? Okay, or some spreads like peanut butters or something. Okay, so they are used in margarines, like for steps to make things more oily things, to make oily things more fluffy. Okay, so these are margarines and you will study this reaction on your fourth chapter. Okay, they are used in formation of ammonia. The formula of ammonia is NH3. So this hydrogen is used in the formation of ammonia and same time for fertilizers. Okay, now I'm talking about the uses of chlorine. Chlorines are used as water treatment because it is very good to uh, 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 antimicrobial agent. It can kill microorganism, whatever microorganism, virus, bacteria, fungi, it can kill them. So chlorines are used in swimming pools because generally we know that there are so many things which are much infected, and swimming pool is one of them, that so many people bath there, so it is a much infected thing we can remember. Okay, so this is used in swimming pools. This is used in PVC. This is PVC is polyvinyl chloride, and this is a type of plastic which is used in your water pipes, that is PVC. Okay, water pipes. They are used in disinfectants. We know that chlorine is a very good disinfectant, and I will tell you that why chlorine is very good infectant. It can kill any type of microorganism. Okay, they are used in CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. Do you remember about chlorofluorocarbon? You studied chlorofluorocarbon so many times that chlorofluorocarbons are is a gas which is present in our AC and which is present in our refrigerator to cool them down. That's is CFC. Okay, CFC. You will study this more. Chlorofluorocarbon. Okay, this gas is used in our air conditioners and our fridge. Okay, for cooling effect. Okay, and sometimes this gas is also used in our perfumes. Okay, pesticides, definitely pesticide, it is very good killer. Okay, it can kill anything, it can kill any life. Okay, now this is NaOH separately. It is used as degreasing metals. What is the meaning of degreasing? Do you remember some grease? What is grease? Grease is a oily like sticky feeling, so it can degrease, it can remove the effect of grease or that sticky feeling. Definitely they are used in soaps, and you know soaps, shampoos. Okay, and you know how soaps work. Okay, so they use in soaps and detergents. That's why they are degreasing metals. That mean anything which is having oily surface or which is oily in nature, by use of NaOH you can make it less greasy or degreasy, or you can remove completely oil from them. Paper making, they are most important thing for paper making, and they are important for artificial fibers. Artificial fibers means nylon and rayon, and they are some synthetic fibers, so they are used in this. Okay, now I add this. Okay, you have to remember these things as such. Okay, and better if you learn from this thing, because the recent NCERT publication is not provided with this diagram and this all these information. So better if you learn from these diagrams. Okay, this is the separate uses of hydrogen, separate uses of chlorine, and separate uses of sodium hydroxide. Now after doing this chloralkali process, this is our chloralkali process. We know why this is chloralkali process. We are not going to do any type of other processes to obtain our these four salts, because sodium hydroxide is already obtained. So we don't have to do another type of electrolysis or another type of processes. Whatever we are forming now, we are just adding these three things Okay, so we studied about the uses of hydrogen, the uses of chlorine, and uses of NaOH separately. Now we are going to make 4 salts. Definitely they are going, they can make so many salts, but we are going to learn about only 4 salts. And this I will add, or scientists will add these randomly with each other, and they will form so many combinations in the form of these salts. Okay, so first thing we are producing, this is not among our those 4 salts, but this is very important acid, that how acids HCl, how HCl is obtained, how HCl is obtained. Okay, so this is also the process which is known as chlor-alkali process. You know that chlor-alkali process, chlor and alkali process. And this is our brine. Okay, the salt which is dissolved in water is our brine solution. So add H2 and Cl, and it will Cl2 definitely, and it will form 2HCl, and this is our hydrochloric acid, which is a strong acid, hydrochloric acid. So there are so many uses of hydrochloric acid. You could be asked by these questions that what is hydrochloric acid and how you can form this hydrochloric acid. Don't think that if NCERT doesn't mention this clearly and it will not ask you. Definitely you can ask me with any type of things. Okay, that now you could be asked that what type of base is used for paper making, and what type of gas is useful for margarine. Okay, margarine, don't forget, it is spread. Okay, when any oily thing gets converted, I want to convert any type of oil or any type of ghee or any type of fat, I want to make it fluffy, I want to convert it in this fluffy spread. Okay, fluffy spread, I want to convert it, then I will use hydrogen gas. Definitely in all cheese spreads and mayonnaise and all type of these things, we are having hydrogen gas. So hydrochloric acid is very strong acid, and it is used in cleaning of steels. Okay, it is used in the formation of ammonium chloride. Now I'm giving you a bit idea about of this, that this is our hydrochloric acid, and when I will use this with this ammonium hydroxide, do you remember this equation? This is our base. Okay, this is our ammonium hydroxide. Okay, 4, this is 4. Okay, one more thing I want to make you clear cut in your mind, that this is ammonia, this is ammonia, and this is ammonium ion, this is ammonium ion 4. Okay, this is ammonia, and this is ammonium ion, don't forget this. So it is telling me about ammonium chloride. Okay, so I'm using this acid and this ammonium hydroxide, this is acid and this is a base, and definitely what would happen, result is in your hands. We know about this, that it will form ammonium chloride NH4Cl plus. Definitely what happens when an acid reacts with base, definitely it will form salt and it will form water. So definitely this OH and this. Okay, just I need to balance this, and it will complete. So I'm not balancing it this right now because this is not my concern. So it will form a salt, that is ammonium. This is NH4 is ammonium, and this is chloride. So this is how ammonium chloride is obtained. This hydrochloric acid is also used in medicines, various type of medicines, and definitely, can you tell me, hydrochloric acid is present in our stomach too. It is our gastric juice. Hydrochloric acid HCl is present in our stomach, our gastric juice. Okay, and they are also produced in so many of types of cosmetic products. Okay, this is how we can get hydrochloric acid. Now we are going to another type of salt, and it is bleaching powder. Okay, bleaching powder, we are going to learn about bleaching powder. Okay, now remember how I obtained chlorine. I obtained chlorine by this process which is known as chlor-alkali process. So I will use this same chlorine. Okay, I will use this same chlorine, I will use this chlorine gas, plus I will use slacked lime. Do you remember this slacked lime? Okay, both of them will work together and they will form CaOCl2 plus H2O. This is a reaction you can't forget this reaction, and this is known as our bleaching powder. Bleaching powder or calcium oxychloride. Calcium oxychloride. Okay, this name, which is known as calcium oxychloride, this name is not present in our NCERT book. So some things I'm telling you more from NCERT book, so you just have to remember these names. And this is known as calcium oxychloride, which you can't forget. Okay, this thing. So this is calcium oxychloride. Okay, and this powder, this bleach powder, the color of this bleaching powder is yellowish white in color. This thing, okay, this is yellowish and white in color. Okay, and the plant, okay, the manufacturing plant or the factory or the company which is producing this bleaching powder is known as Hassan Clever plant. Hassan Clever plant. Okay, because first thing we studied before starting all these things, what we studied, that this NaCl, our our chemical industries cannot do anything with this NaCl. We studied this somewhere. I told you that there is no entity or existence of chemical industries without this NaCl. They are not important for our food, but they are also important for our chemical life. Okay, whatever products we are getting in the form of chemicals. So you know that how these three things are important. Okay, and if we can't able to get any of them, if we are not able to get hydrogen, if we are not able to get chlorine, if we are not able to get sodium hydroxide, so many functions of our daily life will stop definitely. Anyhow, if we are not able to get soaps and shampoos, and if we are not able to get artificial fibers like nylon and rayon, okay, if we are not able to get paper, okay, if we are not able to get pipes, our pipes, okay, if we are not able to get clean water, okay, from whatever water you get, it is treated from Cl2. Okay, what if we are not able to get okay, it is not so important that fuels actually used for uh, aircraft fuels, but what we are, if we are not able to get fertilizers, or what if we are not able to get all these, so many types of these combination, they are separately or in combinations, they are of much important. And how we obtain these three things, how we obtain this H2Cl2 and NOH, we obtain this only just by doing this process which is known as chloralkali process. So one thing is very clear, that NaCl is not important for just to make our food tasty, but it is important for chemical industry. And we know that whole chemical industry, whole chemical industry is totally dependent on this NaCl. Okay, so we will continue our topic on tomorrow, and same time and at same address. Till then, bye.